All right, every time we pack our bags for a trip, we instantly hit this massive logistical puzzle, right? How do we actually get from point A to point B? In today's Explainer, we're diving into a really cool case study of two travelers, Leo and Mia. They're planning a trip, but instead of just grabbing the keys or booking the cheapest flight like, the default, they're doing something totally intentional. They're looking at their entire itinerary through the lens of green travel choices. It's basically turning a standard weekend getaway into this awesome look at sustainable mobility. So the very first hurdle they hit is the ultimate question of modern transit. How should we travel? I mean, for decades, the default answer has been to just jump in a car, right? We've historically prioritized speed and absolute convenience over pretty much everything else. But as we're all getting a lot more aware of our environmental impact, that whole equation is totally shifting. This question isn't just about timeframes anymore, it's about weighing our personal convenience against the actual footprint we leave behind. Now, at its core, green travel is really just about intentionality. Simply put, it's traveling in a way that is good for the Earth. It's about making conscious decisions to shrink that ecological wake we leave behind us when we explore. Think of it as shifting from being a passive consumer of transportation to an active participant in keeping the planet healthy. By actively choosing ways to reduce emissions and limit pollution, we're making sure our itch to see the world doesn't, actually end up degrading it. And this brings us right to the first part of Leo and Mia's conversation. Mia totally takes the lead here in shifting their mindset. She flat out says, let's choose green travel. We can take the train. This is such a huge pivot. By putting the train on the table right off the bat, she completely bypasses the automatic assumption that they need a car for this journey. It sets this amazing baseline of sustainability for the whole trip, showing how just choosing shared transit over a personal vehicle is step one in traveling green. Of course, Leo asks the natural follow-up question. Why take the train? And honestly, that makes perfect sense. Driving is basically viewed as the ultimate symbol of freedom. You leave exactly when you want, go exactly where you want. So why give that up? Why opt for the train instead? It's the classic friction point we all face when planning a sustainable trip, right? We have to overcome that ingrained habit of wanting total individual control for the collective benefit of shared transit. Well, the answer really comes down to efficiency. When you compare the emissions gap between a car and a train, it is literally staggering. A personal car burns fossil fuels and creates a massive amount of localized pollution for just one or two people. But a train aggregates hundreds of passengers, spreading that energy cost out across a massive group. So per person, the train has a much, much smaller carbon footprint. It's just a vastly more efficient way to move us around. Okay, moving into part 2 of their planning, Leo actually builds on Mia's idea with a really brilliant strategy. He tells her, I plan to bring my bike too. This directly hits on what urban planners call the last mile problem. See, the train brilliantly gets them from city to city, the macro journey. But once they hop off at the station, they still have to navigate the local streets. By bringing his bike, Leo is stacking these sustainable solutions to completely eliminate the need for a car. It's a real game changer. And the beauty of adding active transport, like a bike, to your travel plans is that you get these incredible dual benefits. On a big picture level, it's a zero-emission mode that keeps the air clean. But personally, riding a bike is fun. It's good for your health. It keeps us strong, and it keeps us active. It literally takes a stressful commute and heavy traffic and turns it into an engaging workout. It's one of those rare, awesome situations where the most eco-friendly choice is actually just way better for you physically. But what if the spaces are too tight or you just don't have your bike with you? That brings up the next obvious question. Can we walk? Walking is the absolute most fundamental way humans get around. And honestly, exploring a destination on foot completely changes the experience. You are forced to engage with the environment on a human scale. You actually see the architecture, the little shops, the culture, things you'd completely miss if you were just zipping by at 40 miles an hour behind automotive glass. Walking is, without a doubt, a super sustainable choice. It requires zero fuel, creates zero localized emissions, and makes absolutely zero noise pollution. When you commit to walking as your main way to get around locally, it completely shifts the whole paradigm of your trip. You end up exploring one specific neighborhood intimately rather than just superficially skimming the surface of a giant urban sprawl. Plus, it rewards walkable cities, which is exactly the kind of infrastructure we want. Mia wraps up their planning with a thought that perfectly synthesizes the whole process. She says, let's make a smaller carbon footprint and protect the environment. By intentionally mixing these green options, the high-capacity train for the long haul, bikes for zipping around locally, and walking for immediate exploration, Leo and Mia are seriously compounding their positive impact. They aren't just picking a vehicle, they're applying systems thinking to keep their cumulative carbon footprint as tiny as possible. And you know what? This one little trip connects to a much bigger reality for all of us. Let's protect the Earth together. See, the infrastructure of tomorrow is dictated by what we demand today. When millions of individuals start making conscious green travel choices, it sends a massive signal. It tells city planners that we want better train networks, safer bike lanes, and walkable cities. Every time we travel, we're basically voting for the infrastructure we want to see built in the future. So this goes way beyond just Leo and Mia's weekend itinerary. This is a framework for all of us. The next time you sit down to map out a commute or plan a vacation, I really want to challenge you. How will you travel green? How can you step out of that default transit mode and actively design a route that prioritizes the planet without sacrificing the experience? The tools are totally out there, guys. It's just a matter of how we choose to piece them together.